Thank you all for joining us today for our third annual Black History Month program. It is so important that we recognize all of the contributions of Black Americans in American society, because as we know, Black history is American history. There are so many amazing African Americans who have contributed to our society, and we even lost someone this year who was very, very important to this community, the Trenton area, Sarah Dash. Sarah Dash was a singer and songwriter who was a member of Patti LaBelle and the Bluebells. She was someone who could have lived anywhere in the world, anywhere in the country. She was well known, she was talented, and she was famous. But she chose to stay here in Trenton, New Jersey in order to give back to her own community. And she was involved in many, many activities and many community events throughout her life because she felt that this was a very, very strong she had a strong pull that kept her here in Trenton, New Jersey. Yet she is only one of the many great contributors to our society of African American descent. We also have many like Langston Hughes, Maya Angelou, Prince, Oprah Winfrey, Michael Jackson, the Tuskegee Airmen, Reverend Jesse Jackson, and the list continues. Paul Robeson, who lived in Princeton, New Jersey, and actually has his deed right here in the case of the Mercer County Clerk's office for you to see if you'd like to come by and look in our search room. We also have greats that are current and young, like Rihanna and Drake, and some of the new African American poets that have graced our stage. And without them, where would we be? Because everyone lends their talents to this great fabric of American society. And that's why February is such an important month. Where would we be without the contributions of these great people? But more importantly, we must take time to celebrate our African American brothers and sisters. In a country that every day becomes more divided, we must appreciate that our differences make us better and stronger. We are a country that benefits from the contributions of all cultures coming together to bring their very best. If you look around my office, you will see that I value diversity. I have people from many different nations and different creeds, and the reason for that is that I feel that our office and government should reflect what society is made of, so that you feel comfortable when visiting our office and you know that everyone will bring their best to serve you. Now I'm going to move forward and introduce the Deputy County Clerk, who's been my deputy for the last 15 years and who has actually just won a state award for being an outstanding deputy clerk in the state of New Jersey. And that is Deputy Clerk Walker Worthy Jr.
Thank you, Paula Sollami Covello, for having an appreciation for the diversity and the history of the African American experience, and for your unwavering support for people of color. The full mosaic of the African American history is forever engraved in our great history. The contributions of African Americans in our history are completely undeniable. I am proud today to represent the incredible legacy of our great journey. I would like to introduce a leader in our community that is always on the forefront of equal rights. He's always working for the betterment of the Trenton community and committed to everything that we strive for. Not only is he the leader of the great Galilee Baptist Church, but he is the leader of the concerned pastors of Mercer County. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce a trailblazer in the African American history, the Reverend Dr. John Harris. Thank you, Reverend Harris, for always being there for the people of Trenton and Mercer County.
Good morning. It's a pleasure to talk with you this morning, and I've been looking forward to having this opportunity to share with you some of my thoughts. We're going through a lot in this country right now, and there's war, and there's, well, how shall I say it, there's rumors of wars. But there seems to be something strategically wrong in our city, in the city of Trenton, New Jersey, a city where I was born, a city where I've lived now for 36 years, or shall I say, in it and around it. But I want to share something with all of you, whether you're Latino or Black or white or Spanish or Asian, whatever race you may be, it doesn't matter. It's about we the people coming together to do what's good for this city. It's determined. I've looked around and I see all of the dilapidation of what's going on in our city, and it breaks my heart. It breaks it because there seem to be people who are in power but not getting anything done. But then I discovered a lot of them who are unable to get things done is because others who won't let them get things done. And that has to stop. The only way you can stop it is to go out and vote, to make your vote count. And there seem to be issues around this country about who's right and who's wrong. But where does this stop? What takes place? What makes a difference? Your vote. No matter who you are, no matter what your race is, no matter of your economic status, or what community you live in, or what community you would want to live in. It's about your vote. And I ask you to never let anyone take that away from you. Please don't. Because you get to vote very rarely, every so many years, and then there are people who don't even want you to do that. Why? Why is there so much hate? Why is it? I keep asking the question, why is it that so many white people hate so many blacks? Or why is it that so many blacks hate so many whites? Or why is it that all of them want to hate against the Latinos? Why all the hate? Why can't we come together as one people in the capital of the state of New Jersey? And better yet, around this whole country. Or even better, around the whole world. Are we so evil that we are determined to hate everybody else and declare that we are right? No. There's no one that's perfect. There's no one that's totally right. But we can do better than we've been doing. The pandemic has done great damage to us because in doing so, a lot of people just stopped going to church as though God became useless, as though heaven non-exists, as though church has no real place. But I'm here to tell you, don't lose hope. Don't lose faith. People are still trusting in God. Some of us who have declared that we're going to trust God till the wind quits blowing. What will you do with your vote? Who will you vote for? And this time, when you pick a candidate, look deeper than just what they say. Notice how they behave, how they act. Money seems to be the root of all the evil. Because no matter how much you have, there are those that always want more. There are those who always want what you have. And I'm saying to you who are listening now, that if you have a heart for God, and I guess some of you just turned the TV off right there, a heart for God. You believe in Santa Claus. You believe in the fairies. You believe in the four-leaf clover. But you find it challenging to believe in a living God. Well, I'm not here to preach to you about that. I'm here to talk to you about your voting, about listening to all of the candidates and then make a judgment. But before you make the judgment, pray. Ask God for guidance, because you don't want somebody in office that has no relationship with your God. You don't want anyone there that's only getting in office for their benefit. You do not want anybody in office. They say one thing to get in there, and they change, they flip, they become somebody else. It's almost like they're demon-possessed. And then we live in the city, the capital, the state of New Jersey, and there may seem to be some ugly things that are going on. But I say unto you, have hope, have faith. Those who are not worthy to be there, get rid of them. And those who are trying to get there, investigate them. Ask them questions. What do they believe? Where are they going? What are they going to do? Because so many people make promises, and then they don't keep them. So I'm asking you to become responsible, that you become a company of one, and that you'll make it your business to talk to people, encourage. And I'm asking every young person that's of age to vote, vote. You don't understand the importance. I'm almost 70 years old, and I remember when black people couldn't vote. And then when others came from other countries, there were people who tried to stop them from voting. And I'm asking who died and left them in charge. Make a difference. Tomorrow's not promised to you. All you have is right now. And if you don't make this place a better place for your child, then the people will do them the same way they did you. And you'll wish you had them. Get up off of your seat. Move out that door. Register to vote. and then vote with a conscience. Just thought about something that I want to share with you. I've talked about the voting, but now I want to talk about everyone being responsible for his block, for his square feet on the street. Why is it that you're renting from someone, but you don't take care of what it looks like out front of where you live? Why is it that you'll go and do for others, but won't do for your own community? And never, ever leave politics to the politicians. You need to make it your business to go to council meetings so that you can hear firsthand, not hearsay, about what's being said and who's conducting themselves. And that way, you can hold them accountable for their misrepresentation or their harshness or their unkindness, because we're living in a city where nobody's talking to anybody. Everyone has their individual opinion. Everyone seems to think and are complaining at home to family, but it needs to be heard out loud. Don't allow them to have their meetings without you. You voted them in. Now be in the meetings and hold them accountable. If you want to be sincere about this city, then you need to make a difference. And only you. You say, well, I don't know what to say. Speak your heart. Tell the truth and go from there. This is an opportunity coming upon us here in Trenton right now that we can change what's ugly and make it much better. But then there are they who will always blame someone else. And you know what I do? I blame me every time I hold my peace, because I could say more, I could do more, and I never try to blame someone else. I always say, what can we do? And that's the reason I'm interested in all of the races of all of the people. I started a 501c3 called We the People. And the reason I call it that is because I want to do things for this whole city. There's not a really nice supermarket in Trenton. There's not really a very, how shall I say, new hospital in Trenton. There are no real places to shop downtown Trenton. There are billionaires who are investing in the land right here around you. And they are planning to come in and change this city, but they need to get rid of you first. And they're trying to do it. And you'd be surprised how many people are being paid to be quiet, and how many people are accepting money in order to make sure that certain things happen. But I'm here to tell you, we can make a difference. You and I. All of the pastors of the city who have not lost their nerve. All of the people of the communities who now can have hope and say, we can make a difference. But voting is the basic of it. You got to start somewhere. And there are people of both of the Republicans and the Democrats who are not doing all that they could do, should do, or even there are those of the independent. So I'm saying, instead of cussing the dog, strike a match. Instead of complaining about what is not, make a difference. For this is our opportunity. I've lived here now for the last 36 years, and now my years are waning. I don't know how much longer the Lord going to let me stay, but I'm going to do all I can while I'm here so that when I fall asleep, I don't have to worry about what I didn't do. I want to have given my all. That's the reason I'm here with this commercial. That's the reason I'm here with this opportunity to talk to you, to encourage you to fight. Fight for justice. Fight for right. Fight for people to have the right to do what's right, and that we can march forward. Tomorrow, that might be too late. Yesterday, I know it's too late. Today is all you have. Work for your children, your grandchildren. Refuse to accept the evil that keeps coming at you. And people keep saying to you, there's nothing we can do. It's a lie. There's a lot you can do. But you have to get up and start somewhere. And pastors, we got to come together, fellows and ladies. We've got to make a difference. We've got to let our voices be heard from the pulpit. Let our voices be heard in City Hall. Let our voices make a difference all over this city. This is the capital of the state of New Jersey, and it's one of the most deplorable places I've ever been. Just a few weeks ago, they were fighting over 9/11 and who's going to pay the bill, and that's something we put people in office to do. Why do they stop taking care of business? Because they're angry at not being able to do what they want to do. The fights that are going on between city council and mayors and officers down at City Hall. Wake up. This place can be an oasis. This place can be everything we want it to be, but not if we sit at home and complain. Let's work together, you and I. Let's make a difference. God bless you.
We also will be hearing from Trenton Mayor Doug Palmer, who was a former mayor who was elected 5 times to lead the city of Trenton. He will talk about the steps he took to become mayor and his early experiences as a young boy that helped him to learn and grow. We will also talk about some of the leaders that paved the way for Mayor Palmer to become the first African American mayor of the city of Trenton. And we will talk about his influences. So this should be a really educational and interesting experience.
This is former Trenton Mayor Doug Palmer, and I'm so very happy and honored to be asked by our county clerk, Paula Sollami Covello, to speak at her Black History program and give a few thoughts. And so I appreciate that very much. And Walker Worthy, you being deputy clerk as well. As I was thinking about what I was going to say today, I had to think about throughout American history, Black people have been incredibly connected through our struggles, through our fight for freedom, education, voting rights. And that connectivity makes it so important why we have to celebrate and why we do celebrate Black History Month. To really talk about the achievements and the struggles and the perseverance that Black Americans have made throughout this year, which has contributed to this great country, making this a great country that it is. You know, Tupac Shakur was asked one time, and here I am talking about Tupac, you know, why are you celebrating Black history? And he said, I'm celebrating the art of Black history and what we have done, the joy and the perseverance of Black people in America. It's like a rose growing through concrete. And that's very fitting. It is, because the Black experience in this country and the city of Trenton, through all that we've been doing and all the struggles that we still see, it is like we're a rose growing out of concrete. And so as I reflect on where we are today in this country and in our city and how tied it is to Black history, it's very important that people understand not just the names of people, but their struggles and what they went through. Today I happened to pass by some homes, and ironically, 3 of the homes had Black Lives Matter signs. Now, I wonder, do many of you know how the Black Lives Matter movement came about? And if you don't, that's okay. But it's ironic that on February 26th, we'll be celebrating the 10th anniversary that Trayvon Martin was killed 10 years ago on February 26th. And when the person that killed him was acquitted, we all were outraged, or many of us were outraged. And a young lady named Garza, African-American woman named Garza, posted how upset she was about this unjust verdict. Another African-American sister, Ms. Colors, she was outraged too, and she put the hashtag Black Lives Matter. Another sister, also named Tomplin, reiterated that. So these 3 ladies founded the Black Lives Matter. So you can't tell me that founding that, they hadn't been influenced by some of the African-American history in the past, like a Rosa Parks, who didn't give up her seat on the bus, was just said, I'm not doing it anymore. Or you look at Martin Luther King Jr., who led the Montgomery bus boycott. Or you even look locally here in Trenton, when you look at Heads Past Williams and what they did in terms of integrating schools in the city of Trenton. You just can't tell me that it didn't happen, that these young ladies who started Black Lives Matter weren't reaching back in our history and understanding how important it is and how we have to continue to struggle. The struggle continues to go on. And what gives me so much hope and faith is how I grew up around such giants in the Trenton area. All you have to do is name any field, and there are giants here that have made great contributions to make our city great. When you look at what's happening in baseball, Jackie Robinson, you give me Jackie Robinson and what he did to break the color barrier. You have baseball players that followed in his footsteps like Al Downing of Trenton. In football, you look at the great pioneers that broke the color barrier in the NFL. You look at our own Alvin Bethea, our own Troy Vincent, who's the executive vice president of the National Football League. Throughout our history in Trenton, we can trace back to great Black Americans and what they have done, which will always be an inspiration to me and hopefully to everyone, not just African Americans, but everyone in our country and in our city. When you look at politics, you can't look any further than Reverend S. Howard Woodson in the city of Trenton, who was my political godfather, along with John Watson and Bo Robinson, and the Gene Franklin Emmons, who was the superintendent of Trenton Public Schools, the Catherine Grahams, the Jenny Stubblefields, the Eleanor Rains, and so on. Those people persevered and struggled in the 50s and the 60s to make it possible for a person like me, the first African-American mayor of my hometown, Trenton, New Jersey, to be elected. And I stand on their shoulders. Just like you see now the Samuel Frisbees, you see the Keith Hamiltons, you see Terrence Stokes, Shirley Turner, Verlena Reynolds Jackson, and all the other politicians today standing on all of their shoulders. And through all of that, what have they had to do? They had to struggle. I know in the 50s and the 60s in the city of Trenton, there was also places where when I went to the movie theaters, we had to sit in the balcony. The NAACP and Reverend Woodson and others fought very hard that not happen again. Folks, we always have to struggle. Sometimes we look at the news today and see what certain people are trying to do to turn back the clock on voting rights, because they don't like what happened. We have to fight harder now than ever. As Representative John Lewis says, we have to continue to do good trouble. We have to do that. We can't sit back now. We have to pull from all of our ancestors, from the days that we were brought over here in 1619 all the way to 2022. We have to persevere. We have to struggle. We have to fight. If we want a better city, if we want a better county, if we want a better country, we have to recognize that it's never going to be easy. Without struggle, there is no progress. If people are not satisfied with where they live, how they're educated, then they have to be involved. We don't have the luxury of sitting back and just criticizing or pointing fingers. Because when you point a finger, 3 are coming back at you. We have to all work together collectively to have better neighborhoods, a better city for our children and our grandchildren. That's why I'm so encouraged today when I look at young people in the city of Trenton, some that are involved in government, some working for public safety, some in the political arena. I'm very inspired and hopeful by those young people that I see wanting to get involved in the political arena to make this city better. They're reaching back and looking back on the great contributions of African Americans nationally and in the city of Trenton. And so my wish for all of us today as we celebrate Black History Month is that we collectively are the change that is going to happen. And when is the right time? Now. There's no better time than now to make things better, to fight for voting rights, to fight for decent housing, to fight for education, to fight for equality, to fight for justice. I know we can do it because my Black history tells me that we have done it in the past. and we have to continue to build on that legacy. So, my friends, you have a great Black History Month and have an even greater Black History year and life. Thank you, peace, and blessings.
I'd like to now introduce someone who has been with us before. She was in last year's program. She's the president of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority, a sorority that has some amazing members, including Vice President Kamala Harris and our Secretary of State in New Jersey, Tahisha Way. And we also have with us right here in Mercer County, Adrienne King.
Thank you, Paula, for this opportunity to come to participate in your annual Black History Month event. It's truly an honor as a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated to be a part of this wonderful event. As the first and finest sorority, I have to say this year is even more special because we are celebrating our 70th anniversary. We have done great things here in the city of Trenton, throughout Mercer County, and the greater state of New Jersey. We've had 18 wonderful trailblazers that paved the way for us to make a difference here in New Jersey. And some of the things that we've had the opportunity to do since I have become president is partner with individuals as yourself, partners with the mayor here in the city of Trenton, as well as local partners such as the African American Chamber of Commerce of New Jersey, the African American Culture Collaborative of Mercer County, St. Francis Medical Center, the African American firefighters, the Trenton Police Department, the fraternities Phi Beta Sigma, as well as Kappa Alpha Psi and Omega Psi Phi, and our very own brothers, Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity. These partnerships have allowed for us to expand the different events that we provide here in the city of Trenton and throughout Mercer County. We've had the opportunity of hosting a voter education event to enlighten our constituents, those you serve, Paula, about the things that they need to do in preparation of voting. It also has helped us increase our knowledge as a sorority. We've also partnered with local schools because, as you know, the ladies of Alpha Kappa Alpha strive, and we also pride ourselves in education. So we've had the opportunity to partner with Christina Sykes Academy as well as Village Charter School. These two schools we have adopted and been able to provide childhood hunger bags to those attending Village Charter School. And for Christina Sykes, we had the opportunity this year to partner with them and provide Christmas holiday toys for their students. And lastly, we've also partnered with the Trenton Housing Authority and providing a holiday brunch with Santa, where we were able to provide toys to them as well. So our service here in the Greater Trenton community is something that we take pride in doing and will continue to do, hopefully, another 70 years. And as we all know, we are embarking upon Women's History Month, also a great month after the month of February. March, we have the opportunity to celebrate all the great women, such as yourself, Paula, who are doing great things in the United States. We have the pleasure of having several of those women be a part of our illustrious sisterhood, starting with none other than our Vice President of these United States of America, Kamala Harris. And then here on a state level, we also have Senator Shirley Turner, and we have our Congresswoman, Bonnie Watson Coleman. And right here serving in the governor's office, we have our very own Tahisha Way. And these are all prominent African American women that help to make Women's History Month what it is, showing leaders, strong women that are able to serve as community leaders as well as within their own families.
So upon reflection, I just want to say that we have learned so much through having these programs and offering them in the last 3 years. We have learned about the history of Black Americans in the Sourland Mountains and how they've contributed there. And we learned about, how some of our speakers have suffered and have experienced very, very hurtful prejudices through their lives, and how they've grown and soared beyond. And I think that, everyone in this community brings something to the table. And the African American and Black Americans have brought a great amount of talent and a great amount of artistry and a great amount of contributions and leadership to our community. And so I'm happy that we were able to here today to celebrate them and to celebrate all of these achievements in this wonderful Black History Month program. At this point in the program, we're going to honor someone who has passed away that has been so important to the fabric of Trenton, New Jersey, and has also risen to international fame. And that is Sarah Dash. Sarah Dash was a phenomenal singer and songwriter who performed with some of the greatest performers of our time. She was a bluebell in Patti LaBelle and the Bluebells, and she remained true to Trenton, New Jersey throughout her life. Sarah Dash was born here, and she could have lived anywhere, but she chose to live in Trenton and continue to give back to our community throughout her life. She never hesitated to use her talents to improve the lives of Trenton residents, whether it was by promoting the arts in the local community, or more recently, stepping up as a role model during the coronavirus pandemic and using her voice to encourage everyone to get vaccinated. Sarah also was involved in the Women's Space Community of Lights event. We light a candle in honor of those people that suffer from domestic violence on behalf of the Women's Space Organization. And Sarah came out to the Trenton celebration on more than one occasion to lend her voice in song and to stand in solidarity with the women that have suffered. Another soft spot for Sarah was her devotion to encourage children to live their dreams. And she was instrumental in providing resources and platforms for them to perform. Summer concert series were sponsored by the Trenton Development Authority. One great thing that Sarah lived to see was that she was inducted into the New Jersey Hall of Fame in 2021. And due to the pandemic, she accepted that award virtually for her recordings, not realizing that she would never actually live to make it to the October 2021 event because she passed on September 20th, 2021.
Record companies were far away from me. Promoters didn't want to know. I walked in a room and I had a cane when I did feel like going out. I walked in a room and some of my peers really laughed at me because, Sarah Dash was known with the 21-inch waist, and here she is now on steroids, and she's taken to wearing long leather Western skirts with cowboy boots. And they just thought that was so funny. Well, I laughed back because I got to know who they were. You don't get that kind of knowledge of who is around you unless you have a faith-based spirit. You don't wake up with it. It's something that you grow into. During that time, I had to deal with all kinds of issues, and I'm talking about a time that was new to me. So out of that period of my life, I wrote a song called I'm Still Here. The words in that song start with, been through so much in my life, every day a different fight. Been down the road of broken dreams, and they told me I was weak. Somehow I got back on my feet by overcoming, now listen to this, my fears, because fear is what stops you from seeing your future. The next line goes, I survived through the worst of times, but take a look at me now, because I'm still here. You see, you've got to have strength in you. When you don't know that you have strength, you got to go somewhere to find it. And where I found it was in the Spirit of God, because I'm still here. I prayed and everything was all right, and I'm still here.
Somehow I made it through the night.